Hello and welcome, Success Grid Nation, to this new episode of the Success Grid podcast. My guest today is Bimal Shah. He's on a mission to make pioneers out of entrepreneurs by helping you achieve your three-year goals in 1 year. Bimal Shah, welcome to the grid.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Hussein. Thank you very much for having on the
Awesome to
show.
have you here. Awesome. Just one thing to make sure. First of all, tell us how exactly do you spell your name? Is it with the I or you drop it down with Bimal or
So
Bimal Shah?
in Indian names, there is no stress on the vowels. So for Bimal, it won't be Bimal, it would be Bimal. So I would become like kind of E and, A would become U. So, so it's Bimal. Okay.
Awesome. Bimal. Okay, Bimal. So tell us how entrepreneurs or any people who want to achieve any goal in life or in their business, how can they achieve everything in 1 year instead of 3 years? Because we know
Okay.
that 3 years is a long time. So how we can condense that time?
Okay, so the very first stage in building achieving a 3-year goal in 1 year is to be extremely clear and, have a total clear picture of your 3-year goal. And many a times, people have, like, for example, I want to make, $10 million. I want to make $5 million. That's not a clear goal. That's just a revenue goal. Now you should go deeper and say, okay, how many customers do you want to have to make 5 million? Or I want to have 5,000 customers. I want to have, 10,000 customers. I want to have 500 customers. Then you know how much you want to make per customer. And then we say, okay, how many customers do we need to get to this many customers? Then you build a list. So there's a whole process that I've walked through where I go deeper first in extremely dissecting and going deeper and building a very vivid vision first. So be as deep you can go on understanding your goals, the better you would be.
So you're basically working backwards. So for example, like you mentioned, if I want to have a million or 2 million revenue goal, you do it backwards. So you start dividing how many customers, for example, do you need to achieve that goal? What is your selling point? So you know how many customers you want. So you start working backwards from that.
Exactly. And then you see, okay, where are your obstacles? Where are your challenges? Where are your dangers? Okay, I'm not doing any marketing, or I have only 10 customers who are paying this, or I only have 3. Whatever your dangers, your obstacles are there, challenges, we overcome them. Where your biggest opportunities, your relationships with people. And then we take leaps. One of the fundamental things that I do is I help entrepreneurs take 90-day leaps and weekly sprints. So 90-day leap means you jump every quarter. Now, here's the biggest mistake I've seen when entrepreneurs try to leap. So for example, from wherever you're sitting, okay, if you try to jump, you can't jump that far, right? Because you can only jump a little bit of distance, right? Because you're jumping standing up. But from wherever you are, if you took 20, 30 steps backwards, okay, and you run up to that point, now you can jump, right? Because you're running up to a point. So business is about the same. You have to take a lot of steps backwards, to understand, go deep, analyze your business. And I do a fitness test. So I do a business fitness test where I do a scorecard on every single function of the business and see how fit are you in your business to make that leap. Because if you're not healthy and fit, you can't jump, right? You can't make a leap. Similarly, you need to be fit in your business.
Exactly. I love that because now it just occurred to me that there is an Olympic game. I think they like go 10 meters or 20 meters or feet. I don't know how backwards to jump like 5 or 6 meters ahead. I'm not sure what's the name of the game itself or the sport itself, but I think everybody had saw it on TV somehow somewhere in the Olympics sometime in their lives, I'm sure. So what you're talking here about, that's a great perspective into things that we have to go back to certain steps to make jumps in the business and our lives. That's a great
Exactly.
things, yeah.
Exactly. And the same thing, in order to run up to that point and in order to participate in the Olympics, so you either jump high or you jump far. So if you want to jump high, you need a stick. So there's a tall jump, there's high jump. So the sport is called long jump and high jump. So the long jump is you jump far, and the high jump is you take a stick and you go up, right? But even to grab that stick and jump up, you can't just do it by standing. You have to run up with a stick, put the stick down, and then you can jump and take the leap, right? So same thing in your business. There are 12 different functions, okay, in your business, whether even if you're by yourself and you don't have any team members, there are 12 functions in your business that you need to see where you stand in terms of fitness. How fit? For example, marketing, operations, sales, training, hiring, leadership, finance, customer service. These are some of the key essentials. Innovation. So once you talk about, okay, where do I stand in each one of these functions in terms of my future goals, not today, but in terms of my future goals, you find the gaps. And that's what my scoring system does. I have a scoring system business scorecard. So I don't know if this is relayed as a webcast, but if people were to scan that QR code on the screen, they will have access to so many tools and resources for free.
Yeah, sure. I will have it as a video as well. Sure. So you talked here about 12, let's say 12 elements of business, but is there an element more important than the other? For example, marketing. Is it, for example, more important than other elements in these 12 elements?
So
Or yeah,
there are 3 elements that are very, very important. Okay. And those are the elements that produce results. Everything else is a cost. And those are marketing, sales, and innovation. You need to be consistently marketing yourself. You need to be consistently selling, and you need to be consistently innovating.
yeah,
If you
exactly.
do these 3 things, you will produce results, and it will give you the money to support all the other functions, whether it's technology, whether it's customer service, whether it's hiring, the financial, the leadership, all of those other functions. But you should be focused on these 3 elements in your business.
Yeah, I believe Peter Drucker said that business is about marketing and innovation. So, right. So it's basically that if you don't market and if you don't get the sales and you don't get the revenue, so you can't grow, you can't put the technology in. Now everything is now, most of things that online, or these things that you want the technology, need to have money to buy new technology and to develop and to update.
Right. Now, I can give you one example. Elon Musk, he is consistently innovating, right? He's also one of my role models. But if you think about it, he spends so much time on innovation that the product that is produced after that, people just buy into it. So that's what has made him one of the richest men in the planet. So think about that. If I can innovate, where it can take you. And many times we get stuck in what we're doing, and we continue to do the same thing for so many years, thinking that we'll produce a different result. And that's insanity, because you can't expect different results doing the same thing. But what it may also do, what the problem and the challenge it will do, is you might actually get extinct because someone else will figure out how to eliminate you.
Yeah.
So
In these days, everything is going too fast. Technology is so fast that you have to maybe take, like we mentioned earlier, you have to jump and take leaps to stay at least maybe with the pack, not left behind. So yeah.
right. Well, that's why one of the systems I created is becoming a pioneer. So let's say if you want to stay with the pack, or you want to stay together with the competition, you have to overcome what everybody else is doing. But if you become a pioneer where you're the only one and there's nobody else, you're the leader, you're the pioneer. You don't have anyone else following you.
Yeah, so you mentioned here pioneer and the leader. So is there a difference, because we're talking here about, like you mentioned, Elon Musk, and there is like Jeff Bezos and these guys. What's the difference between being a pioneer and a leader? Is there a difference?
There's a huge difference. So being a pioneer means you're the only one. Okay. There's nobody else like you doing what you do. And that is the fundamental foundation of being successful in business. Being a leader means that you are in a category, you are in a business where there are many others like you and you're leading. Now, in order to become a leader in that category, in that place, you have to overcome all the others. So maybe there's a million people ahead of you in the line, and then you have to get ahead of them, right? But the fastest way to get ahead of them is to be a pioneer, being
Yeah.
different and being, totally unique. So that is what becoming a pioneer is all about: being better and being different. So if you can be better and you can be different, you are pioneer.
Yeah. So how for the people who are listening to the Success Great podcast, our audience, how they can be a pioneer? Because nowadays, from my own perspective, from what I am seeing, there is a lot of, I don't want to say copycats, but there is a lot of things that are very similar in business, whether
Right.
offline or online. So how can you distinguish yourself and be someone who is actually a real pioneer, who's doing something really different? Now, if you mentioned Elon Musk, for example, and or Jeff Bezos, there are people who, for example, Jeff Bezos, he made Amazon. He started with basically the selling books, and Amazon grew, and now they are taking it things to space. So how is it, or difficult it is to actually being a pioneer from all these
Okay.
people and different aspects
So
of
let's
things?
start. Let's start. The most of your audience that is listening, they are small business entrepreneurs, right? Am I correct?
Yeah,
So for a small business, let's talk what it matters to the audience. Where they're coming from, right? Most of your audience is small business, right? Am I correct?
yeah, yeah,
Okay. So if you're a small business, obviously you're not. You want to grow from where you are. So the very first step to becoming a pioneer is look at your process. Everybody doesn't do the same thing the same way. There's no way. We are all born different. We are all unique. There's no way that even if you're in the same industry, you're doing exactly the same thing as your competitor. Okay. Uh, so look at your process. Now, your process is what you can then capitalize and make it unique, and you can make it improvise. See where you can improvise in your process. Okay, step by step, where you can make it, and then see how you can improvise the end result. So for me, example, what I say is that I take an entrepreneur's 3-year goal and help them get there in 1 year. Now that makes me a pioneer, because how many others are doing that? Not in
the
very nobody.
99.991 want are not doing. Yeah,
Exactly. This not doing that, right? So I'm not putting myself out there that I'm a coach or I'm a trainer or I'm a consultant. I'm not putting myself in a category, right? Because I wear all the hats. I am a recruiter. I do marketing. We do operations. We do grant writing. We do funding. We do relief. We do training. We do whatever it takes. I even had walk my client's dog and even be a therapist to the husband and wife once, in order to achieve their 3-year goal. One of the clients told me, said, the biggest obstacle, in helping me achieving the 3-year goal is my wife.
really.
She's also in the business. You got to help us get on the same page. I said, okay, let's get on the same page. So that's, whatever it takes to help you achieve your 3-year goal in 1 year is what I do. So think about that. And when you as a small business, think about these 5 key words. Okay. And I'm going to tell you: definitive, deliverable, desirable, measurable, valuable, result. So my question to the audience is, what's a definitive, deliverable, desirable, measurable, valuable result that you can deliver to your customers, and focus on that? And that's what will begin the journey of making you a pioneer.
Yeah. So do you think now, focusing more, like when we say online businesses and online, for example, when say focus on a certain niche to serve certain group of people, should that be the case for small businesses and entrepreneurs, to focus
Absolutely.
on a small group
Absolutely.
of people and serve them?
Absolutely. The narrower your niche, the bigger your check. So the more narrow, people think that if I go broad and wide, taking anyone and everyone as your customer could be the biggest mistake in your business. So, you don't have to take anyone and everyone, because when you go anywhere and everywhere, you end up nowhere. Any day or someday is no day, right? So think about this, that what is your audience, but more important, think about what is the result I want to deliver to that audience. Okay,
Yeah.
so the result is what's the key. The more detail you go and the more you hone in and you say this is the bottom line. So for example, I'll give you an example of a company that found its own, became a pioneer, is they do claims, they do restoration, and say there's so many companies who do restoration and this and that. So what we did is we said one thing, they, and when I asked this question, what's a definitive, deliverable, desirable, measurable, valuable result, they said what we do best than anyone else that nobody does is we help insurance companies eliminate unwanted claims.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
you have to know your customers' uh, painful areas, their problems, the roadblocks that they are having. So in order to give them the results that they are looking for.
exactly. So in this case, in this story that we're talking about, well, we branded the company as the claims eliminator. So they eliminate unwanted claims. So that now when you go and we targeted their the clients who was a Janet, who's an adjuster at the insurance company. So we built a list of Janets, and we named her dream come true prospect as Janet. And then say, okay, let's get a list of 300 Janets, 500 Janets, reach out to them and help them eliminate a lot of claims. That's how they got a lot of business too, and scaled it to a much higher level. So there's ways you can be very unique in what you do and plan. But that's why I built the whole thing, the Becoming a Pioneer book series. So if you scan the QR code or if you go on Amazon, the book series is there. And the first book, it was #1 new release. The second one is being launched next week. So that would be coming on Amazon, and it's 13 book series. And then I have the Pioneers Club. So anyone who buys the Pioneers book, they can also join the club, bit.ly/the Pioneers Club. If you want to put that, in the notes and all that. So, and when people join the club, I actually connect pioneers from all around the world, because anyone who gets the book, whether they're in Europe or Africa or Australia or India or US or Canada, we all meet once a month and we talk about taking the business to another level. And, so that's the Pioneer Club. And then I have the Pioneers Community and the Pioneers Platform. So my whole structure is built around making pioneers.
No, awesome. So in order for a business owner or entrepreneur to make themselves a pioneer, are there certain, for example, characteristics for them to look after and develop in that area, or certain skills that they need to acquire?
Absolutely. So as an entrepreneur, there are several, characteristics every entrepreneur has. Okay. And that makes you an entrepreneur, but you should be very committed. So I would say the 7 C's that are very important to making confidence for pioneers is, first, you should have clarity. Okay. You should be extremely clear on where you want to go. Okay. The second, you should be committed to it. Or you should have the courage. They sometimes get swapped, one or the other, but you should have the courage to make the commitment, or you should have the commitment to be courageful to take the bold step. Now, once you build these 3 things, you then build new capabilities. And once you have these capabilities, you need to do it consistently, and that makes you competent, and it helps you build confidence. So these are the 7, characteristics that, you need to think about. You need to be strong physically. Entrepreneurs, the more a person who has his health, and I don't know who said it, but I've heard it many times, a person who has his health has 1,000 dreams. A person who doesn't follows only but one. Okay. So if you don't have your health, improving health becomes your primary goal. But if you have your health, you can follow 1,000 dreams. So get healthier. That's the first thing that I would say, that any entrepreneur become strong and healthy so that you can, be successful in your business and have a
Of
routine.
course, taking care of yourself and your health is an effect. I think Jim Rohn used to say, if you neglect your health, you will neglect your wealth. So
Yes.
it goes with that saying, you have to look at yourself first, your health. So with that, you will develop your wealth in general. Not just, we're not talking here about just the money. We're talking about wealth in general, whether it's socially or regarding money or whatever it is that you actually want to draw more into your life, right?
Right. And then in business is always going to have challenges. Now, a business is always going to have obstacles. Business is always going to, allow you to make decisions. So the second most important thing about business owners is making decisions. And if you do not make the right decisions, or if you lack in your decision making skills, then you will be falling behind. So you do need to act, and you do need to decide. Okay, so
Yeah.
those are two very, very important things. The longer you wait to decide, the longer you wait to act, the more difficult it will become.
So,
And
so we're talking here about being a pioneer, but is there like, are pioneers like doing it from their own, or there is like a team like working also with them for it?
Okay, so every business owner can have a team. So we live in a world where you can have people all over the world working for you for specific jobs, for specific things that you need. So you don't necessarily need to have a team inside your office. I mean, with the COVID and the pandemic, the office just was thrown out of the window, right? Like most people were working straight from home, and everything
Yeah.
was internet and everything. So think about a team. You don't have to think about that, okay, I don't have the money to hire people, or I don't know how I'm going to hire. You don't necessarily. You can give specific contracts, you can give specific jobs, you can find specific people who would do specific things for a specific sum of money, and that becomes your team. So you have to think as if you have a team, and you have the capability to have a team. You're not going to succeed in your business doing everything by yourself. There's just no way. You have to surround yourself with people who are smarter than you in things that you're not smart about.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are a lot of folks who are very smart in things that you may not know how to do, and it's okay. And you don't need to figure out every how. There's a who for every how somewhere there. So that's, you definitely need a team. Absolutely, no
Yeah,
question.
exactly. So the entrepreneurs in general who are, like you mentioned, you can't be good at everything, yeah, that you are doing. So,
Right.
and also we mentioned earlier that the most important thing in business that they are marketing, sales. So do, if someone is not really good at marketing, for example, should they hire like someone definitely for that to be a marketing front for their business?
So there are two things to it. Number one, you are your best salesperson and your best marketer for your own business, in
Mm.
terms of knowing nobody knows about your business better than you do, right? You know more about your business. So when you do hire a marketing firm, you want to hire a firm or that is based on performance, and that is also understanding what you are and what your business are, and that resonates with your branding and your personality. Okay, so just hiring a person, let's just go hire and let them do social media, digital marketing, this and that, and then they put all kinds of things out there and it doesn't work, or you spend money and you don't see results and you get unhappy, and that's what happens 80 to 90% of the time. But if you work with someone where they understand you and your personality and your business better, then that is the right, even that could be somehow even inside your business. So one of the things we do is we train the people at the companies to be better marketers, so that they can have someone in-house doing some of the things, and they can even work with some other firm outside and collaborate together. So it's a collaborative effort. It's not either or.
Exactly. And like innovation, you have also to bring other people in, because sometimes the the ideas of other people could be a lot of benefit to the business, because a lot of let's say services that everybody uses daily on Google or Yahoo or Facebook. These ideas didn't came from Mark Zuckerberg, for example. They came from employees who worked in Facebook. So, so
Exactly.
yeah, the valuable people and valuable employees are an integral part of any business actually. So tell us about your books. Actually, not just one. There are 13 books. So why 13? How long it took you to write these books? How much time did it took you to write these books? Because 13
Okay.
is not a little number to say.
No, no, absolutely not. So one of the things is that, I didn't want to just write a book. I want to leave behind a system. I want to leave behind a system that can help entrepreneurs year after year, 10 years from today, 20 years from today, 50 years from today, that they can continue to use these series to continually scale themselves every single year. So I didn't write this just to write. I wrote it because my mission was to make pioneers out of entrepreneurs, and I want to continue to make pioneers even when I'm not around. So I thought of leaving behind
A
a
legacy,
system,
a
a
system and a
legacy.
legacy.
Yeah, a system and a legacy. So this is a system because it's workbook. It comes with videos, it comes with questions, it comes with tools, it comes with resources. So it's a step-by-step, day-by-day system. You do this on week 1, you do this on week 2, you do this on week 3, then you go week 4, week 5. You consistently follow all the steps, step by step, to achieve your 3-year business goal in 1 year. So that's the mission behind that whole series.
Awesome.
You know,
So these books, every one of these books is something that, so let's say the first book continues with the second one, and the second one continues with the third one until the 13th,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
So it's a
Yeah. So the
continuous,
first one,
yeah, it's
the,
a
the
complete series of steps.
exactly. So the very first thing, in building your 3-year goal in 1 year and becoming and doubling your business and achieving, becoming the only one in your industry, is you need to have a very clear vision. You need to have very structured vision, and you need to build multiple streams of revenue and all of that. So that's what I do in the very first book. And these are short books. They're about 80 pages to 100 pages each, and they're workbooks. So you write in the book. Many times I see that people, they read books, but they don't retain or they don't apply, right? How much of what you read you retain, or how much of what you read you actually apply? And that becomes a challenge, right? So what I do is, this book becomes your own book because you
Yeah.
write it.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great idea. So this is why I assume, because you mentioned they are short books basically. So I assume here this is why you have not put them all in just one book.
No.
This
Yeah.
is, yeah. You want it to be
So
like some kind of a workbook or a worksheet, instead of just reading through it and just finishing and put it aside mostly. Because if you don't take action on what you are reading, you're not going to develop as a business person or on your life.
exactly. So I have a saying, I have a quote of my own. Your hands are your click. I mean, your mind is your hard drive or hard disk. Your eyes are your lenses. Your hand is the click button. So you don't have a complete picture unless you use all three, right? So when you write, you actually create a physical memory in your brain. So even if the book is not with you, you don't have the book with you, you actually will remember what you wrote,
Yeah,
because it's somewhere in a file in your brain. You can actually see the letters that you wrote on the page. They will flash in your brain,
yeah.
and you will visualize that. So that's the purpose behind, the whole book series.
Awesome, great idea. So what would you say, Bimal, to the Success Grid Nation takeaway? What would you say, one takeaway for this episode for our audience?
So the biggest takeaway, the audience becoming a pioneer and growing exponentially is to, connections that you would build. And one of the best way to build connections and connect with other pioneers is through my Pioneers Club. Okay, because I connect people from all over the world, and we meet once a month. So if you get the book from Amazon, you'll be able to join the club, and you'll be able to connect with other pioneers, and we learn from others. I can tell you right now, in schools and colleges and university, hardly anything about business is being taught that we really need to, that we can use, right? So, but we learn a lot
And
from other businesses and other entrepreneurs, right?
yeah,
I mean, Steve Jobs was a dropout from high school. There was so many business entrepreneurs that didn't finish school, but businesses and learning and being successful in business, so the connections are the most valuable. You learn from others. We always are students first. We never stop learning.
yeah.
Um,
So it's
so
amazing. It's about learning. So we're not here telling people to quit school, but we're saying that learning is important in general. You have to learn whether you're in school, at university, or you're learning from other people, which is from my experience is the most valuable thing is that you can learn from other people and their experiences.
Absolutely. And that's going to shorten your journey so much faster and better. Like, you could spend 20, 30 years doing something and you say, I realize if I knew this, I could have done this in 2 years or 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they will their experiences will give you some shortcuts into doing things.
Right.
Exactly. So Bimal, what is the website of you? Where can people get in touch with you?
All right. So the place where they can join the Pioneers Club is bit.ly / the Pioneers Club with capital T, capital P, and capital C. And my website is the oneyearbreakthrough.com. Okay. And then if people want to scan the QR code, if they're watching this on the video, you have access to all kinds of free resources, tools, books, meetings, conferences, events, a whole bunch of, it's like magic because I consistently put new things into that
Awesome,
as
awesome. We keep
well.
updating that. Amazing.
So,
Awesome.
so
Well,
yeah, absolutely.
awesome. Well, Bimal, thank you for being here today with me on this episode of the Success Grid podcast. Very informative and actually to the point. Tips to the point.
Right. Thank you, Hussein, for having me here. And then hopefully, from people who are hearing this, a couple of them turn out to be great pioneers,
Yeah.
or a majority of them. So, and join me on the journey, because I want to make 1,000,000 pioneers. I want to see you be part of the 1,000,000. So please join me on my journey and become part of the club.